Well, this is my third guest episode. Very excited to be joined by Katherine Huck, the owner of Mountainside Bakery Cafe in Princeton, Mass. If you haven't been here, amazing place, amazing story behind it, which we'll get into. So Katherine has been the owner for 2019, right?
We actually moved our location here in 2019, but I've owned it since 2015.
Okay.
We were down in the center of Princeton.
It was the market, right?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Mountainside Market. Yep.
Okay, and so kind of give a little background about yourself and I guess get into the background of the business and how it came to be after.
Absolutely. My background is kind of varied. I started out in politics right out of college and then lived on Capitol Hill and in Washington for 4 years and then moved up to the Boston area and moved my career into more of a sales and marketing role and worked for engineering software companies up until it was time to raise some kids, and had 3 beautiful children, and then started my own company when I had 3 under the age of 6 and created a product line of children's toys that were marketed in specialty toy and catalog sale venues, and then just sort of continued to go more in the sales and marketing field. And after working corporate sales in Boston and nonprofit fundraising, decided to go into the hospitality business.
All the stress in the hospitality business.
It's been stressful since COVID. We really have had a very good run, though. We are in an amazing town, and they've been super supportive of what we do. So, yeah, it's been good.
I remember, you telling me you were in politics right after college. What school did you go to?
I went to St. Lawrence University.
St. Lawrence. Is that like a political school or?
No, it's actually known for being an excellent liberal arts school. I majored in English. I minored in fine art. I did not have a political science degree. So it was more of the ability to communicate and interact, and I think just the general will to be involved at a different level is what was interesting about politics,
And you went in for a lobbyist, right? So what did that entail, being a lobbyist?
When you're working in that capacity, your job is to help promote. So in a way, it's almost like marketing.
Yeah.
You're promoting a concept or an idea, or for me, it was an association's agenda, and so you were building relationships and communicating and talking to a lot of people and doing a lot of research and writing. So it really used a lot of the skills that I had learned in school, and I think is a great basis for almost any business endeavor.
Yeah, so you can kind of say you took what you learned from being a lobbyist into the business world, because it's all the same like traits and stuff.
Yep.
You got to be communicative, you got to build relationships. So I guess it goes hand in hand. Mm-hmm. And so you see some business people get into politics now because it's basically some of the same traits.
It's a lot of the same, skill sets, and I think building relationships is going to be your fundamental asset. If you can learn how to do that well, you can carry that into any role.
Exactly. Okay, so let's talk about the background of this land in this building, because you guys came in here with the agreement with the DCR, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
And you kind of renovated this entire building, this historical building, the superintendent's house?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Superintendent's house. Went through the whole thing, and then you opened it as a bakery. It's like, okay, so take us through the entire, from the lease to the renovation process to the ultimately opening day of the bakery.
Sure. So, we'd been running Mountainside Market down in the center of Princeton and needed to expand. And the opportunity to work with the state in this curatorship, that's what it's called, which basically it's a public-private partnership that offers the state the benefit of having someone come in with their ideas and their resources and renovating a building that really is in need of repair. And so we saw the building. It was in complete shambles, but we could see the vision. And once you have that, once you know exactly where you can go with something, the pieces just start falling into place. And so we entered, it's basically a 40-year lease with the state. And in return for the renovation, we get to run our business here. So it really is beneficial, I think, for both sides.
I would have to agree. I mean, this is in a perfect area. You got the Mount Wachusett right down the road. And speaking of that, do you get a lot of snowboarders and skiers that come here after a day on the slopes or something like that?
We'll definitely get some skiers and riders for sure. I'd say we're busier when it's the warmer weather, and you get the hikers and the bike riders and the people who are kind of coming and going. They're out and about. I think the skiers tend to, definitely want to be on the mountain as much as they can. So we aren't always open when they're available to come to us too. So our day is a little shorter than their ski.
The summertime, obviously, a lot busier. And we were talking before we went on air that you have a lot of events.
Yep.
And so kind of talk about the events that you guys hold and maybe potential future events.
Yeah, definitely. I think because this house is historic and it's in such a beautiful
It's a destination
setting. It is.
New England
it is.
or Central Mass.
It is gorgeous, and it butts up right into the DCR State Park. So you've got the beautiful trails and everything everywhere. So I think inherently people see it and would love to host some special private events here. So we've been doing that. We've been doing corporate events as well, corporate private dinners. We've been doing some meetings, lunches, that type of thing. And we look forward to continuing to build that part of the business. It wasn't our original intent moving here, but it really makes sense. And there's not a lot of other places that are sort of similar in the immediate area. So.
I would agree. And not a lot of people know that this place kind of exists right now. Some people probably think it's still just an abandoned building.
Right.
People haven't driven by in like 5 years.
Totally.
I remember my dad was saying that.
Yeah.
He was just like, I had no idea this place was a functioning business.
Right.
Because it's been abandoned for so long.
Totally.
And so there's a lot of people in this general area that still probably think it's that abandoned building. So
definitely.
I think, is that part of the next piece of the puzzle to get more people to find out that this is actually a functioning like bakery?
Yep. You hit the nail on the head. I think we moved in here in the last 2 weeks of 2019, and then COVID hit, in early 2020. And we've been so focused on just sort of the day-to-day that we haven't been doing the other things that you need to be doing, which had always been part of our plan when we first moved up here. So advertising, marketing, doing more promotion. We hit social media pretty hard, but that's been the only thing that we've been doing. And there are multiple pieces that...
A lot of pieces to the puzzle for social media marketing.
We need to be doing. Totally.
So is that kind of like one of your next focuses is to get more aggressive for online advertising?
Yes.
To get the word out more often and at a greater pace?
Yes, definitely. I think we've been pushing events out a little bit more. We've been trying to get more consistent with our messaging, even just the look of our, Instagram branding, that kind of thing, just trying to give it more of a cohesive look. But we also need to go into, doing some stuff like Google advertising, things like that, and just hitting those different areas. We haven't been doing that.
I'm big into TikTok, and I think a bakery like this would be a great place for you guys to be on TikTok.
Oh my gosh, I'm laughing because a good friend of mine is like, you guys got to get on TikTok.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not just dancing and stuff. It's evolved from that. It used to be Musical.ly, which was just simply just dancing. A lot of teenagers, mostly teenagers, were on it first, and then it evolved into basically every piece of content imaginable is on there. Business content, skits. Everything is on there. I'm on TikTok. I have like 3,000 followers.
So give me an example. Like, tell me how Mountainside could go onto TikTok effectively.
So you do behind the scenes in the kitchen. You making the sandwiches, you making the drinks. Kind of give the audience a perspective of you know, how to make this specific drink, how to make this hot chocolate, how to make your famous,
got it,
you know, iced coffee, whatever.
I can see that being.
Yeah, and then you kind of do some fun things with the staff. Maybe have some videos of events and get people to meet the staff and stuff. And you can just take those videos and put it on, you know, Instagram as well, and YouTube Shorts, and you can put it on Pinterest. Pinterest is big for repurposing TikTok content right now.
Okay.
And so you can that one video can just make all these different types of videos.
Yep.
And you can get very creative in your creative process by the types of videos you want to create. And you can kind of get the staff involved, like, hey, what are you guys interested in? Like, what would you guys want to make for videos?
Yeah. It does sound fun.
It is really fun, and it's free marketing, so you don't have to pay for it.
I know. Well, and I've noticed that we can now sell on TikTok.
Yeah, that's the new thing,
our POS system has a direct. So I've been looking at it like, oh, we should probably do that. So this is
I
this
can
is
even
a
help you
timely
out.
conversation.
I could help you out for that.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because I'm starting to get better at TikTok. The more I do it, I've had 2 viral videos last month, which is like amazing because I've been posting every day.
That's
and
awesome.
I finally got the satisfaction of a viral video.
What was it that made it viral? What was the content that was?
So I was just kind of at home. I didn't feel like filming because on one of my pages I just do skits and stuff because I don't know why I love it, but I do. And I didn't feel like filming that particular day, so I got an old video from back when I was in college, a prank that we did with my buddy, and it got over 2 million views.
Are you serious?
And I was like, okay, so it kind of gave me a better idea of what works on that platform.
Yep.
And then the next one was like a few weeks ago. I was just recorded. It took me a minute to do the entire thing. To one take. It was just a 7-second video of like me reminiscing about like high school or something.
Yep.
And it's over 1 million views right now.
Wow.
Just very simple video to do. So
interesting.
So I'm starting to get better at that, and a lot of businesses are doing the same thing. They're taking these short videos like that, 7-second videos, utilizing trends on TikTok, and they're going viral, and they're making a lot of their business from TikTok. Like all this real estate agent I follow, 95% of her clients are from TikTok, and she's only got 33,000 followers. So
that's amazing.
It just shows you the potential. It's the best platform for marketing right now if you want to do it for free, because you go viral with ease.
Well, and it's interesting to me that you could be successful with a regional, very geographically specific business on something like that.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was kind of skeptical when I was helping my construction company client. Yeah. I was like, how am I going to get people to see this in this general area?
Right.
But it works. I mean,
interesting. Yeah.
Because it starts off as like you showing to people in the United States.
Yep.
And then if it does good in the United States, it goes to Canada and England and Ireland. But I don't know how the targeting works. I don't know how the algorithm is changing all the time. But it does focus on the U.S. And you can also put a link in your bio. I don't know if you guys sell things on your website.
We do. Not a lot.
Okay, so sweatshirts you can sell apparel or something. Someone clicks on that link, and you get money that way. So there's various factors. I would have to do a little more brainstorming, but that's just from the top of my head.
Well, it's great to think about. So it's again very timely because I've been getting you got to do it. You got to do it.
Yeah, I mean, the lifespan of it's not going to be too much longer in terms
that's a very
of
good point.
Free organic content getting pushed out to millions of people like in the snap of a finger.
Right.
That's going to change at some point in the next year or two. And so now's the time. So anyway, that's kind of like the TikTok conversation. That'll be a big clip of itself.
That's very helpful, though.
I wasn't expected to talk about that.
Hey,
sometimes that's what happens. Yeah. So, all right. So we talked about marketing. We talked about the beginning of this place, the lease, everything. What made you want to start a bakery?
That's a good one. So when I was working in Boston and commuting and traveling a ton all over the U.S., I just kept getting this pull that I needed to do something closer to home. And then lo and behold, I found out that Mountainside was for sale. And it just felt like the right opportunity. I already was running a business, my own business. At the time, I was still running my own business while working in Boston. And I felt that it was the perfect duality. I could stop doing the corporate thing and stick to something closer to home. And it was really important to me to learn the business from the ground up. Like, I wanted to be making the sandwiches and doing the dishes. And so, because if you know more about what each job entails, you can hopefully manage it a little bit better and understand what your employees and staff need to do to be effective. You know, what makes a good person in a certain position versus another, that type of thing. And so I really just jumped into that, and we grew the business. My business partner, Robin, is our head baker. And so we ended up formally joining forces almost about like 2 years into that Mountainside market effort. She was working with me that whole time, but then officially they ended up joining our partnership. She is amazing at what she does, and so, you know, we really could just capitalize on that, and just the food that we were producing was high quality, and, you know, just kind of tried to stay true to that. And we knew that combining it with an amazing destination spot was really just sort of the perfect formula, where people could come and make new memories in an old historic place, and, you know, it was important to us. So. And
what stood out to me is that you wanted to start, you know, making sandwiches, doing the dishes. I feel like that's like a common theme amongst people who are in the restaurant industry. You can take Gordon Ramsay, for example, or I don't know if you know John Taffer, Bar Rescue.
Oh, yeah.
So they all started like cleaning the dishes and stuff, and they worked their way up. They wanted to get a feel for what every position does. So I guess one day when they're owning the place, or the manager of the place, they just know how all the systems work. Exactly.
I think that's a formula that works well for any business, though. You know, I really do.
Start from the bottom and
learn
along the way.
And as an entrepreneur, you begin to learn all of the systems that you're creating to build your business, and that's super important. You know, you have, you know, the direction, and you've got to find the answers. So it's good.
That's kind of doing the same thing with real estate, and learning from my dad and going through the ranks and that, learning appraising, because he always complains about how, you know, agents are messing up the listing information and stuff. He's like, double check with them all the time. Like, is it actually that many square feet? Because he's got to go. All of that has to be accurate on his end. And sometimes it's not, because the agent, you know, kind of just rushes through the listing, or like typing in all the information. And so I'm learning that side of the business to be better as a realtor and an investor. And so that's gonna give me, I think, a leg up on a lot of other people.
Definitely.
But it's a lot of work in the beginning to, you know, a lot of stress. Once you're at the bottom, it's like, okay, one day I will be up there at the top. Like, you know, from all the experience.
Well, all of those experiences, though, you are collectively learning. Like, and you are such a refreshing personality, because you're out there seeking information and trying to, you know, build these experiences for yourself. That's a great quality, you know.
Well, I appreciate that.
Absolutely. No, I'm very serious. Like, you don't always see that, and I think particularly when you're an entrepreneur, you have to be willing to keep learning. You're never going to get to that place where you know everything, ever. You know, there's always going to be something new, like TikTok. It's going to come along, and you got to tackle it. So
there's always going to be those unexpected kind of mistakes or failures, like, oh, I didn't see that coming. You got to be prepared for those things at all time, because they could come 2 hours from now, they could come 2 years from now. So
absolutely. And the key is, what did you learn from it?
Exactly.
You know, it's not every day is going to be the perfect day or go the way you planned it, but what can you take away from it? And I think those are the valuable lessons.
Yeah, and that's something I've learned the more I've gotten into everything, is I just got to learn as much as I possibly can about whatever it is I'm doing, real estate, marketing. I just got to learn every single day. My goal is to read at least 30 minutes every single day, just learn something new.
That's awesome.
Listen to podcasts all the time, watch YouTube videos, and I just try to consume as much as I can. And the big thing is, a lot of people will learn and they read and stuff, but they don't put that into action.
Right.
That's where a lot of people, you know, make a mistake. That's where I've made a mistake before. I'm sure everybody has. Like, you absorb all the information and you just don't end up using it.
Right.
I think that's the toughest part. You actually have to take that first step towards using it in the real world.
Absolutely. And it's just taking a little step every day. even if it's doing something small, but in the direction that you want to go, and staying true to that,
Yeah, because you have some days where it doesn't feel like you made any progress at all.
Totally.
And some days you might even go backwards.
Right.
But little do you know, you're actually making progress with those days that you don't feel like you are.
Yeah.
So you got to kind of take a step back and remember that, I think.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, so true. I mean, some like COVID's a perfect example. That just kind of stopped everything in its tracks, but it also made us as a business sort of relook at how we were doing business, and we made improvements. We changed things. I think it's easy to get into a rut where you feel like you've got to keep doing the same things because you've always done them that way. And then when something like that happens and, you just reassess everything, it's very valuable. I think being open is always very valuable.
And speaking of, this is kind of similar to that conversation, being an entrepreneur, that type of thing, learning. What's the biggest risk you've taken, like in business or your career, whatever it is like that?
Oh, that's a great question. I am a bit of a risk taker, I will say that. And I don't know if it's the popular thing to leave a well-paying job and trying something completely new that I had no experience in. So the biggest risk I think I've taken is putting, personal finances on the line for starting my own business, and then going into this endeavor, did require a little bit of, you got to, put some assets on the line. But again, I think we wouldn't have done that without the firm belief that we had everything in place. We had a, very strong business plan. We knew where the resources were coming from. So these are risks, but they're calculated, and I felt confident every time I did them. So.
And are you the type of person that doesn't want to live with regret? Like 30, 40 years from now, you don't want to be sitting there like, I wish I did that, I wish I did that, 100%. I wish I started that business.
Yep.
That's something I'm super terrified of.
Yep.
I don't want to be 60 years from now be like, I wish I just went for that.
Yep.
So
yep.
That's something I'm very scared of, and something I'm trying to ingrain in myself. Like, Jake, you don't want to live with regret. Try everything. Do everything your gut tells you to try. So,
yep.
And you're kind of the same way.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I think that is such a valuable quality, to be able to follow that. And sometimes it's a little scary. Like, you have to conquer the fear of that. It's hard to do things that are uncomfortable sometimes.
Amen to that.
And people don't love to, try that coat on. So.
And I don't know if you know Gary Vaynerchuk, entrepreneur, but he's my favorite. He's one of my biggest role models, and he's all over the internet. Yeah, he's podcasts. He's everywhere.
Okay.
But he always says to people, especially the younger generation, that spend a day, go to a nursing home or a senior home, and ask them if what they would change about their life, and all of them would most likely say, I wish I did this, I wish I would do that when I was younger, I wish I could do that nowadays.
Yep.
And so that's something that's stuck in my brain ever since you said that. And it's something I kind of think about every day. The more and more every day, the more I hear it, I go back and listen to that every now and then to kind of remind myself, like, Jake, you don't want to be in that position one day. And I took that as probably one of the best pieces of advice I've ever, learned.
Yeah.
Is that right there?
That's foundational.
It is.
That will really direct your life in many ways.
Yeah, because I do agree with, like, in terms of all these, older folks, they all have regrets of something they didn't do back in the day.
Right.
And that scares me.
Yeah.
And that scares you. So we're kind of in the same boat for that.
Yep, definitely.
And I kind of want to shift to, I'll ask a few more questions because I know we don't have all night here. What is the inspiration behind building this business? Is that like family or?
It's a good question.
Other motivations?
I think it's twofold. Family is definitely one. Having a business like this has afforded us time to incorporate our family. Our kids work here. We also can welcome families. And that, I think, is the other part, the community piece for us was really important. We wanted to do this building not only for the business and the expansion of the business, but really for the area and the community. And we wanted to be able to share it with people. And that was a fundamental, like, core tenet for us. We wasn't all about, just Mountainside. Mm-hmm. So.
And that's a common theme with my first few guests. I'm going to keep asking this question to every guest I have. Is what is your inspiration behind the business? And pretty much every single one's probably going to say the family. Mm-hmm. I think that's everybody's motivation. You want to provide for your family.
Yep.
Like, I want to one day retire my parents.
Yep.
It's one of my big goals. Because they've given so much to me in my 23 years. So it's like, I want to repay them, and you want to repay your family with this business and build this to the potential that it has, which is, a lot of potential and expansion, that type of thing. So I think that's the number one motivation amongst entrepreneurs is family.
It's a huge one. Yeah, for sure.
And this one is something, how do you handle stressful situations? Because a lot of people have different ways of handling those types of situations.
Yep.
Are you the type of person that kind of just steps back and takes a deep breath and just realizes, like, it's not as big of a deal as you're making out to be right now, or you kind of approach it a different way?
Nope, I'd say that is almost exactly how I approach it. I think over the years of having to deal with a lot of different things, whether it's a manufacturing delay or it's working in a corporate position and having a, multi-billion-dollar software company breathing down your neck, like, there are moments that you realize you can't affect change in that instant, and then there's moments where it's not going to be fixed right now, but the solution is going to come. Mm-hmm. And you're going to find the best way forward no matter what. There's almost nothing that I've found in my experience you can't find a solution to in a business sense. There's obviously things on a personal level, and people you can't always fix everything there, but I think that if you can stay calm and just sort of assess, it always works to your advantage.
There's a lot of times you get overwhelmed and, like, there's no solution to this, but there's a solution to every single problem that you have.
Exactly.
This kind of relates to back when I was in school. It's like, I can't figure out the answer to this question, but there's always a solution, and something I've probably learned before.
Yep.
And I just got to reach back into my brain and, like, okay, that's the solution.
Or what's the new resource I need to go after to find the answer
Mm-hmm.
to that solution? So you're in school and you can't answer the question. Well, I could call the teacher's assistant, or I could go look at the syllabus and see what reference So it forces you to go deeper into the problem, and again, this is where maybe you're learning something out of that whole scenario that didn't maybe turn out great, or wasn't turning out the way you thought it was going to turn out, but it ended up being a learning moment, experience.
And I think a lot of people, once they have come across that type of situation, they kind of just give up because mm-hmm. there's extra steps to the puzzle. It's like, I got to go ask the teacher for help. I got to go, talk to my manager. And it's just like, I don't want to do that. I'll just, take this loss
Path
right
of least
here.
resistance.
I'll just pack up my bags and head out.
Yep.
So that's kind of how a lot of people approach those situations. And I'm guilty of that. I've done that before. I take the easy way out,
Yep.
I think everyone's done that at some point in time.
Absolutely, and sometimes I think there's a time and place for that.
There is,
sometimes it is the better way to go.
Sometimes it's like, do I really need to do that?
Right.
Or is it something I can wait, or I just don't need at all?
Right.
I got 2 questions left.
Okay.
And we'll wrap up. I've asked this to my last guest, which was, what is your favorite book? Because I'm a big reader.
Yep.
And I don't know if you're a reader or not. If you don't have a favorite book, then, or if your favorite 2-3 books, whatever pops into your head first.
Oh my gosh.
And is it like a business book, or you can do any fiction,
Yep.
business, nonfiction, anything like that?
Yep. So I read all the time too, and I was an English major, so I have.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
there's
kind of required to.
So much reading. Yeah. There's one book though that I read all the time, and it's by a poet. His name's Mark Nepo. And it's called The Book of Awakening. And it's sort of a daily reflections book. And it goes, every day you have a different passage that you can read. But I've been reading the book for years now, because it just keeps continuing to stay fresh, even though it may be the 3rd or 4th time I've read that reflection. But it is an annual book. So it's kind of interesting to me how when I can read something that I've read before, it can change the meaning. You know what I'm saying?
I do,
so he's a poet, but the daily reflection is sort of more of like a helpful, think about it this way type thing. So that's one of my favorites. I'm trying to think I just love fiction. I love oh my gosh, so many other things. I don't even know if I could give you like one title. I'm trying to think.
You big into like the history or?
Yeah, I love historical fiction, like the David McCullough books, and
Yep. Yeah.
I like all of those are amazing. Philippa Gregory books were all about Henry VIII. All
King
of those,
Henry, okay.
yeah.
I'm big into like the medieval times. I love that era.
Yeah, stuff like that is really good. I went through the whole John Grisham phase, and
okay.
Yeah,
my mom loves him.
Yeah, there's
one of her favorite authors. So.
Yeah, there's so many. I'm trying to think. Shadow of the Wind was a great book. I'd say it was probably at the time one of my favorites. And then there's an author named Lily King, and I love everything that she's written. So Writers and Lovers was one of her newest books. She's got a bunch of them, but yeah. What's your favorite book?
My favorite book? Oh man, I don't know if I have a favorite, but I have Think and Grow Rich is up there.
Okay.
Napoleon Hill.
Yep.
Gary Vaynerchuk books.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look him up.
He's awesome. What am I reading now, though? I'm reading a real estate book right now. Buy, Rent, Rehab, Refinance, Repeat. That's the name.
Oh, interesting.
So it's a BRRRR strategy. So
that seems right up your alley.
For investing.
Yep.
So I try to read 3 books at once.
Yep.
Business book, history book, and a fiction book.
Fun book. Yep.
Yeah. So the real estate book right now, and then I'm reading a history book about the 14th century France.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So doing that, and then I'm reading Game of Thrones.
Nice.
Because I love Game of Thrones.
Did you watch the?
I watched the show, and the books are great. So,
good for you.
I mean, I can have disagreements about the 8th season. It wasn't great.
You know what? I never watched it.
Okay,
the series. I'm not a violent.
Yeah, it's pretty violent.
Can't watch the violence. Yeah.
But that's some people's issues. They can't, all the gore and stuff.
It's literally that. Yeah. Like it just like hurts my psyche to see like blood, and I don't know.
I try to tell myself that it's just all fiction.
Which it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all fake. But
yeah, it's not for everybody. So
right. I can listen to gory podcasts, but I can't watch it.
You can't. Okay.
So like I can listen to like a murder podcast.
And you can imagine that in your head, but you can't watch it on
which
a
somehow
screen.
Is better. Yeah. Somehow it's better me imagining it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that makes complete sense. So not everybody's the same way. My uncle's the same way. He refuses to watch Game of Thrones.
That's so funny.
Because of that reason. And but a lot of it's just like power, politics. A lot of it's just that type of thing.
Totally.
And, which is what I love about it the most, I think. One last question. What is a 2-year outlook for this business? Do you have one?
I do. Okay. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we will continue to grow our presence as Mountainside, doing what Mountainside does, and then I do think that there is room for us to expand into an event, more event-focused business, and offering that again, sort of in the community flavor. Doing more meetings here, having more groups here, going back to what it was like before COVID, when people needed to get together and gather, and we would like to see that happen again when things just settle back down. And so in the next 2 years, I would hope that we see a return of some of that, and we'll see where the business goes. We'll see if there's market for doing other things that could be interesting. So,
well, 2022 is going to be a big year for you guys.
Well,
it's only the start. So
I know. Same with you.
Yes.
Same with you.
Yes. just gotta be
Busy
patient.
season's
It's
coming.
the biggest thing. Patience.
Definitely. Yeah.
I try to look ahead too much, I think, sometimes. Just gotta be in that present moment.
Yep.
So,
I think having a good mix of that
yeah,
is
exactly.
important.
And where can people find you? Website, social media?
MountainsideBakeryCafe.com.
I'll put this in the description down below on YouTube and
Yep.
the podcast platforms as well.
Yep.
So,
Instagram, Facebook, and maybe TikTok. Coming
guess
soon.
we'll have to discuss that. So, yeah, we'll put a coming soon down below for
Yep.
TikTok.
There we go.
Well, that will do it for this episode. So, hope you guys got some value out of this. This was really fun. I enjoyed this. I think this was like 40-something minutes. Hold on.
There we go.
Almost 40. So, longest podcast with a guest yet. So that's good. I hope you had a good time on this. So
Definitely. Thank you, Jake.
thank you for coming on. I really appreciate this.
Sure
I mean,
thing.
it was our second try at it. So this one, it's gonna be good.
I'm sure it's
Double
gonna be
thumbs
awesome.
up for this
Yep,
one. So
it's gonna go viral.
that would be nice. Maybe one of these clips I'll put on TikTok will go viral.
There you go.
So thank you so much, Katherine.
Thanks,
and
Jake.
who knows? Maybe we'll do another episode one day in the future. 'Cause
Yeah,
I don't think I
definitely.
asked like 10 of these questions.
Oh, hey, there was some. We got some good
Yeah,
content on
a lot
there.
of good stuff in there
Yeah.
for viewers. I mean, a lot of people can learn from this, and
Yeah.
so I'll obviously give you guys the clips as well, so you can have your audience check it
Awesome.
out. So
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure.